Hi everyone, I'm Evely and I'm going to tell you an interesting story, part 2. Good luck. It's wild how much can change in a year. When I look back now, I can barely recognize the woman I was when this all started. I was broken, confused, scared. But now I'm a completely different person. I'd always prided myself on being independent, but I think I had to lose everything to realize just how strong I really was. It's crazy how much I used to depend on Kyle, on his validation, his presence, his opinions about me. I had built my whole identity around him and our life together. And then when it all came crashing down, I had to rebuild from scratch. And let me tell you, there's nothing like the freedom that comes when you stop giving a shit about someone who doesn't value you. I've been dating now, nothing too serious, just enjoying the attention of men who actually see me, who don't try to use me as some kind of emotional crutch or try to make me into someone I'm not. It's been fun, really. There's this guy, Alex. He's kind, he listens to me, and he's not intimidated by my strength. He gets that I don't need him to save me, that I'm perfectly capable of standing on my own 2 feet. We're not rushing into anything, and that's exactly what I need right now. I'm just enjoying the freedom of being with someone who respects me, without the heavy weight of expectation. As for Mason, he's doing great. He still asks about his dad sometimes, and I'm always honest with him. I don't hide the truth, but I don't throw Kyle under the bus either. He's just too young to understand the complexities of what went down, so I keep it simple. Your dad made some bad choices, but you're still loved. That's what I tell him. And it's true. Mason has more love surrounding him now than I ever thought possible. I found this new peace in my life. I don't have to worry about Kyle showing up and messing things up. I don't have to keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. I can trust the people around me now, and most importantly, I trust myself. And when I look back at everything I've been through, I feel this strange sense of pride. I survived it all. I survived a man who tried to tear me down. I survived the lies, the manipulation, the heartache. And through it all, I came out stronger. I didn't let it destroy me. So yeah, Kyle can keep doing whatever he's doing. I don't care anymore. He's not the villain in my story anymore. I'm the woman who fought for herself. I'm the woman who took control of her life. I'm the woman who will never allow anyone to define me again. And honestly, that's the most powerful feeling I've ever had. If there's anything I've learned, it's this. No one is going to take care of you the way you can take care of yourself. No one is going to fight for you like you will fight for yourself. And when you finally realize that, everything changes. It's funny how life works out sometimes. One minute, you're stuck in a miserable place, thinking everything's falling apart, and the next, you're standing tall, surrounded by people who appreciate you for the person you truly are, not the version of you that someone else created. When I first found out about Kyle's affair, I felt like I was suffocating, like I was trapped in a box with no way out. I couldn't see beyond the hurt, the betrayal. I couldn't even imagine a future without him. And yet here I am, a year later, a completely different woman. I'm free. I used to tell myself that if I just worked hard enough, gave enough of myself, loved enough, I could fix the things that were broken in my relationship. But the truth is, I couldn't fix Kyle. I couldn't make him change. He had to want that for himself, and he never did. I spent too many years thinking I could save him, that somehow my love would be enough to fix the cracks in our marriage. But the reality is that love isn't enough when one person isn't willing to meet you halfway. And so, when I finally let go, when I finally stopped chasing after a man who would never be the partner I deserved, that's when I found my real strength. It wasn't in holding on to something that wasn't meant to be. It was in letting it go, accepting the fact that some things aren't fixable, and that's okay. I'm okay. The last year has been a healing process, not just for me, but for Mason too. He's growing up in a stable, loving home now, surrounded by people who care about him. I can see it in his eyes every day. He's happy. He's thriving. And that's the most important thing. As for Kyle, I don't know what his life looks like now, and honestly, I don't care. I don't need to know. I spent enough time thinking about him, wondering what he was doing, what he was thinking. But that's not my life anymore. He doesn't get a seat at my table anymore. He doesn't get to define who I am or what I do. I decide that now. I'm finally living for me. I'm not living for anyone else's approval. not living for anyone else's idea of who I should be. I'm just living. And you know what? Feels damn good. I've realized that, at the end of the day, I'm the one who's responsible for my happiness. Not Kyle, not anyone else. I'm the one who chooses what kind of life I want, what kind of people I want in my life. And I choose happiness. I choose peace. I choose love. The right kind of love, love that's not based on lies, on betrayal, on guilt. Real love. So, if you're reading this and you're stuck in a situation like I was, just know that there's a way out. You don't have to stay in something toxic. You don't have to put up with someone who doesn't value you. You don't have to keep fighting for someone who won't fight for you. You can fight for yourself. You can be your own hero. I promise you it's worth it. You know, when people say, you'll find someone better, it always sounds like some cliché advice. Something people tell you to make you feel better when you're drowning in heartbreak. But I'm here to tell you, sometimes it's true. Sometimes, life has a way of surprising you when you least expect it. I had been so focused on healing, on being the best version of myself for Mason, that I wasn't even thinking about relationships. In fact, I'd convinced myself I was done with them. Done with trying to make something work with someone who wasn't fully invested. Done with giving pieces of myself to people who couldn't give them back. But then came Nate. Nate wasn't someone I'd met through friends or some online dating app. He was someone I met at a local charity event I had decided to attend. Honestly, I went because I thought it would be fun. Something to do outside of the routine of work and life with Mason. It wasn't about meeting someone, but I guess the universe had other plans. He was different, calm, confident, and not trying to impress anyone. He had a quiet intensity about him, like he didn't need validation from anyone to know his worth. And that was refreshing. After everything with Kyle, I didn't need someone who was going to be needy, who was going to look to me for emotional support. I needed someone who was grounded, who had their own life and goals. We started talking, and before I knew it, we were grabbing coffee together. He didn't push for anything more, and that was the key. He respected my boundaries, he respected my space, and he didn't rush me into anything. He listened, really listened, and when he asked about my past, he didn't judge me for the pain I'd gone through. He didn't make me feel like my history was something to be ashamed of. He saw me for who I was, not who I had been. It was such a relief to be with someone who made me feel whole, not like a broken woman trying to pick up the pieces of herself. And as the weeks went by, I started to realize that Nate wasn't like the men I'd been with before. He wasn't trying to fill a void. He was just there. And that was enough. Things between us moved at a pace I had never experienced before. Slow and steady, without pressure, without expectations. I never had to prove myself to him, and I never felt like I was walking on eggshells, waiting for him to decide I wasn't good enough. He wasn't intimidated by my strength. He embraced it. Eventually, after months of getting to know each other, we talked about our future. I wasn't looking for someone to save me. I was looking for a partner who saw me as an equal, and that's exactly what Nate became. I can't explain how different this love feels. It's not desperate. It's not filled with uncertainty. It's peaceful. And for the first time in a long time, I don't feel like I'm walking on a tightrope, trying to keep everything together. I don't feel like I'm the only one holding the weight. Nate and I are a team, but we're also two individuals who choose to be together because we want to be, not because we need each other to survive. And as for Kyle, I don't think about him much anymore. He's become a distant memory, something that doesn't even register in my day-to-day life. I used to be angry at him for all the pain he caused, for all the lies he told. But now I'm just thankful. Thankful that I went through the hardest thing in my life because it brought me to this place, this beautiful, peaceful, and fulfilled place. It's funny. The worst thing that ever happened to me turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. It forced me to take control of my life, to realize my worth, and to find a love that was real and genuine. And when I look at Nate, I know that this is exactly what I was waiting for all along. Not someone to complete me, but someone who respects and loves me for who I am. A few months have passed since Nate and I made our relationship official. Every day feels like a new adventure, one I'm so grateful for. It's not always perfect, nothing ever is, but it's real. And that's what matters. I remember one evening not long ago, when we were sitting on the couch after dinner, just chatting about our day. Mason had already gone to bed, and the house was quiet. Nate was telling me about a project at work, and I found myself just listening to him, amazed at how normal everything felt, how healthy. You know what I mean? After years of dysfunction, of walking on eggshells, of constantly wondering if my life was ever going to settle, to finally feel like this calm, balanced life was something I could have, something I deserved, felt surreal. Nate wasn't like Kyle. He didn't have a wandering eye. He didn't have a pattern of making me feel small or unimportant. With Nate, there were no games. He showed up. He communicated. He was reliable. And more than anything, he saw me. The real me. Not the woman who had to pretend for years. Not the woman who had to settle. He saw me for everything I am, and that made all the difference. We'd been on a few small trips together, just getting to know each other even more. There's something about experiencing the world with someone who makes you feel safe that changes you. I could see the future with him. I could picture us doing life together, building a family, growing old together, going on adventures, creating memories. And the best part? There was no rush, no pressure, no anxious thoughts about when it would fall apart. Felt right. And for once in my life, I didn't have to second-guess myself. Mason loved him too, which was important to me. Nate wasn't trying to be his father. He never crossed that line. He respected Mason's space and gave him room to figure out what kind of relationship he wanted with him. But seeing the two of them bond over silly things, like watching a movie together or playing video games, was enough for me to know that Nate was a good man, a kind man, a man who would never try to replace anyone, but who was more than happy to be part of our lives in a healthy way. Kyle still drops by once in a while. It's always awkward, mostly for him, I think. The first time I saw him after the divorce was strange. He looked like a man who knew he'd lost everything but wasn't ready to admit it. He tried to play the "I'm still the dad" card, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I had let go of that version of him. I don't owe him explanations or closure anymore. I don't need any of that to move on. I had taken back control of my life, and I wasn't going to let him mess with my peace. I found a place of true peace now, a place where I don't feel threatened by what he's doing or who he's with. I don't even care anymore. He can do whatever he wants. I'm too busy living my life, building a future with people who respect me and want the best for me. In a way, Kyle's cheating was the best thing that ever happened to me. I never would have left if I hadn't found out what he was doing. And leaving him gave me the chance to find who I really am. I wouldn't have met Nate. I wouldn't have had this new sense of self. I wouldn't have this beautiful life if I had stayed in that broken marriage. It's funny, but in a way, I'm grateful for the pain. Grateful that it forced me to face myself and say, no more. I wasn't going to stay small anymore. I wasn't going to let anyone, least of all Kyle, tell me who I was or what I deserved. Now, as I sit here with Nate, I know this is where I'm meant to be. Not just with him, but with myself. I'm at peace. I'm not defined by my past, by the things that have happened to me. I'm defined by what I choose to be today. And today, I'm someone who chooses happiness, who chooses love, who chooses to live life to the fullest. And this is just the beginning. It's funny how much can change in such a short period of time. I've gone from being a woman caught in a web of lies, betrayal, and confusion, to a woman who knows exactly who she is, what she wants, and what she deserves. I didn't think I'd ever be here. I didn't think I'd ever feel whole again. But here I am, stronger than I ever thought possible. You know, people ask me how I managed to come out of the mess Kyle left behind. And honestly, it wasn't easy. It wasn't an overnight transformation. There were days when I wanted to crawl back into the bed and cry. Days when I wasn't sure I could go on. But I did. I went on. I had to. For me. For Mason. And now, looking at my life, looking at everything I've built, everything I've created, I'm proud. I'm so damn proud of myself. Kyle may have been the catalyst for change, but I was the one who made it happen. I was the one who decided to stop being a victim of my circumstances. I was the one who chose to take control of my story. I'm not bitter anymore. The anger has faded, and I've made peace with my past. I've forgiven myself for staying in a relationship that wasn't right for me. I've forgiven myself for thinking that I wasn't enough. Because now I know I am enough. I've always been enough. And as for Kyle, well, I'll admit I sometimes wonder how he's doing. But it's not out of concern. It's more out of curiosity. How does someone who once had everything, family, stability, a life with a woman who loved him, end up? The truth is, I don't care anymore. I've moved on, and I have everything I need right here in front of me. I have a life now that is full of purpose. I have Nate, who loves me in a way that's patient, respectful, and genuine. He doesn't need me to complete him, and he doesn't make me feel like I have to compete for his love or attention. We're partners, and that's everything I've ever wanted. And Mason, he's thriving. He's learning, he's growing, he's becoming the amazing person I always knew he could be. I didn't need Kyle's approval or his attention or his validation. I was always capable of doing this on my own. And now, I realized that my happiness was never dependent on anyone but me. I was the one who had the power all along. I want to tell anyone who's reading this, who's struggling, who's stuck in a toxic relationship or a bad marriage. There is life after the pain. There is freedom on the other side of heartbreak. But it starts with you. It starts with making the decision to take your life back. It starts with knowing that you deserve better than what you're getting. So, to everyone who's been there, who's been broken by someone else's choices, who's had to pick up the pieces and start over, you can do this. You're stronger than you know. And you're worth so much more than you've been told. I'm living proof that you can rise from the ashes. You can take back your power. You can love again. Not because you need someone, but because you want to share your life with someone who respects and cherishes you. I don't need a fairy tale ending anymore, because I've already written my own story, and it's better than I ever imagined. I never imagined I'd be here. I never imagined that my life would look like this. I never thought I'd get to a place where I felt peace, where I didn't wake up every day with that sinking feeling in my chest, that nagging voice in my head telling me I wasn't good enough. But today, I wake up with a smile. I wake up excited about the day ahead, looking forward to the little things. Coffee with Nate, the sound of Mason's laughter as he runs around the house, the joy of seeing my dreams come true one by one. It's not a perfect life, but it's my life, and it's the one I've built for myself. I used to think that I was defined by what happened to me, by the pain I'd endured, by the betrayal I had suffered. But what I've learned is that our pain doesn't define us. It's what we do with that pain that shapes who we are. I chose to turn mine into strength. I chose to rise, to fight for my own happiness. And now, I'm living a life that's mine, authentic, real, and filled with love. I've realized that the worst thing that ever happened to me, the affair, the lies, the heartbreak, was actually a gift. It forced me to wake up, to stop settling, to stop being afraid of what might happen if I stepped out of the life I'd always known. Pushed me to become someone I never knew I could be. Someone strong, someone capable, someone who knows her worth. I think about the old me sometimes, the one who thought she had to keep everything together for the sake of her marriage, the one who put everyone else's needs before her own. And I want to tell her, you're enough. You've always been enough. It's easy to lose yourself in a relationship, especially one where you're constantly fighting to be seen, to be valued. But when you let go of the things that weigh you down, when you stop clinging to something that no longer serves you, that's when you finally start to live. And that's what I've done. Now, when I look at Nate, when I look at Mason, I see everything I've always wanted. I see stability. I see love. I see respect. And for the first time in a long time, I feel truly seen by them, yes, but more importantly, by myself. I never thought I'd be able to trust anyone again after Kyle. But Nate didn't just earn my trust. He made me trust myself again. He showed me that love doesn't have to come with strings attached, doesn't have to be earned through sacrifice or manipulation. Real love is simple. It's honest. It's kind. I think back on the day I walked out of that courtroom, the day I knew that my marriage was officially over. I remember feeling so much fear, so much uncertainty. But now I see that day for what it was. The day I took back my life. The day I chose to never again be at the mercy of someone else's choices. It's strange how something that seems like the end is often the beginning of something new, something better. I don't know what the future holds, but I know this: whatever happens, I'll be okay. I've proven to myself that I'm capable of handling whatever life throws my way. If there's one thing I want people to take away from this, it's that you're never stuck. No matter how bad things seem, no matter how broken you feel, there's always a way forward. It starts with you. It starts with taking control, with knowing that you're worthy of the best love, the best life. And you'll find it. I promise you that. I don't need to look back anymore. The past is just that, the past. It doesn't define me. It's what I choose to do next that matters. And I choose to keep moving forward. With my head held high, with my heart open, and with the unwavering belief that the best is yet to come. I used to think I was broken, that the lies and the heartbreak had shattered me beyond repair. But now I know better. The pain didn't define me. It was just a part of my story. And with each day that passed, I put myself back together, piece by piece, until I was whole again. I've learned that the power to heal, to love, and to be loved has always been inside me. I didn't need Kyle's validation, or anyone else's for that matter. I've created a life that's mine, one built on strength, respect, and true love. Nate and I were not perfect, but we're real, and that's all I ever needed. So I don't look back anymore. I don't need to. The future is bright, and I'm walking into it with my head high, my heart open, and my soul at peace. The best part? This is only the beginning. I can't wait to see where I go from here. And if you're out there, struggling, thinking that you can't move forward, trust me, you can. You just have to take the first step. The rest will follow. You're worth it. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice day and see you in another video.